of Atzlus as well. All right, so stop over here. We're going to pick up again with some greater depth and strategies as to how to do this tomorrow, Amir Hashem. All right, Rebosai, let's begin. Today's daf is Kuf Yud in Meseches Menachos. Rebosai, the last blot. I thought, to be honest, my WhatsApp was going to be flooded with dedications this morning. Mamashu doesn't want to dedicate the last daf of Menachos. Schoenfeld family is dedicating the last daf of Menachos in honor of Table 1. Good. In Yirtz Hashem, they should experience a rebirth with Meseches Chulin. In Yirtz Hashem. Shkoyach. Okay, and our shir, of course, is dedicated this morning by Semi and Malka Esterson in honor of the yahrzeits of their parents, Ludwig Stiefel, Yitzchak Leben, Aaron Akoin, and Hinda Esterson, Hinda Bas Henach Ephraim. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah and Neshama Sav and Aliyah. We'll say, let's begin. We left off. We have a lot to do today, actually. Today's daf is Kuf Yud 110. But it feels like it's Kuf Tes also today. So we are picking up on 109b in the wide lines. Second wide line. Let's just pick up beginning of second wide line. Michlal, the beis Chanyo lava vodas kochavim. Now, both sides, the Gemara says, based on the conversation, the extensive conversation we had yesterday, it sounds like that the temple of Chanyo. So remember again, Chanyo, as we're going to see in just a moment, was the son of Shimon HaTzadik. We are about to see this riveting story unfold in front of us right now. So the Gemara says, the temple of Chanyo was not an idolatrous temple. Watch this. Tanya Kiman Damar Beis Chanyo Lava Vodas Kochavimu. So the Gemara says, now we're going to see, according to the opinion, that the temple of Chanyo was not a Beis Avodas Kochavim. Here we go. Both say, absolute, but I just want to tell you, what I can't get over about this is, we've had virtually no Agadata, as you might have noticed, throughout the last 109 blot of this Masechta. And it's amazing. This last blot, somebody was mentioning this to me yesterday. Sometimes there are certain Masechtas that have like a famous ending, like Maseches Makos. Menachos is not one of those Masechtos that's known for its famous endings. I was thinking about why. Then I realized probably because most people don't learn Maseches Menachos. So who knows the ending? Well, so we're going to get to see a dramatic ending over here. So here we go. Says the Gemara. Disanya. Osa Shana Shemei Shimon HaTzadik. Rabbi say incredible Gemara. This is a Gemara, actually Maseches Yuma, famous Maisa. Osa Shana Shemei Shimon HaTzadik. Rabbi say that year that Shimon HaTzadik died. Remember again, Shimon HaTzadik was the Kohen Gadol. We mentioned him in Pirkei Avos. Haya Mishiyare Knesses Hagedola, Anshe Knesses Hagedola. He was one of the last remaining surviving members of the Anshe Knesses Hagedola. So Amar Lahen Shana Zuhu Meis. He came out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim and he said to his family, this year I'm going to die. So his family said to him, how do you know that? Listen to this, we'll say it's wild. Every year when I go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, there's an old man who is Lavush Levanim inside. So he's wearing white and he's wrapped in white. V'nichnas imi v'yatsa imi. He goes in with me to the Kodesh HaKadoshim and he leaves with me from the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Shanazu, this year, nizdamin zakin echad lavush shchorim v'nisatev shchorim. This year, the old man was dressed in black and wrapped in black. V'nichnas imi, he went in with me to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. V'lo yatsa imi, but he did not come out with me. So we'll say, so the commentaries discuss who exactly is this ish. It could be a Kodesh representation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one of the malachim. The symbolism here being the going in and coming out. Shimon HaTzadik goes in peace, comes out in peace. This year again, it's wrapped. The man is wrapped in black, of course, a symbol of mourning. Goes in but does not come out. La'achar haregel chala shivas yamim umeis. After Yom Tov was over, Shimon HaTzadik becomes sick for 7 days, and he died. We'll say after that, as a result, v'nimnu echav hakohanim milavarech b'shem. As a sign of mourning after his death, the Kohanim stopped using the true Shem Hashem in their Birchas Kohanim. B'shas Petira, so we'll say, at the time of his death, Amr lahem, he said to the other Kohanim, Chanyo b'ni yishamish tachtai. Chanyo, my son, should be the replacement Kohen Gadol. You will say, even though technically speaking, right, the Kahuna Gedola is not necessarily hereditary. I should say differently. The Kahuna Gedola is not hereditary. Nevertheless, again, it seems to be historically that if the Kohen Gadol had a righteous son, that it would make sense to go ahead and appoint that individual. So Shimon HaTzadik leaves instructions that his son Chanyo Yishamish Tachtai. His son Chanyo ultimately again should be the next Kohen Gadol. Here's the problem. Both say this is actually this week's parasha. Niskana bo Shimi achiv shahaya gadol mimenu shtei shanim umechza. Chanyo had an older brother by the name of Shimi. Shimi was 2.5 years older than Chanyo, and of course the sibling rivalry begins, because now Shimi feels like he should have been the Kohen Gadol. He was the oldest brother, and here he gets passed over for his younger brother. So Amrlo, so we'll say Shimi is very upset, and decides to go ahead and figure out a way to get Chanyo out of the picture. Amrlo, so Shimi, the older brother, says to Chanyo, his younger brother, Bo, ve'elamdecha seder avoda. Come, you know what? Mazel tov on your new appointment. You know, I've been watching Dad for the last number of years. Let me go ahead and teach you about the avoda. So what happens? Hilbisho ba'unkali v'chagro b'tziltzul. So he tells Shimi to put on, or we'll say, if you look at Rashi, first short line, unkali, malbush shel or. So this is like a leather shirt, but as we're going to see, it's more like a leather blouse. Vitziltzul, bless you. Tziltzul is a belt. So we'll say, he tells him to put on these garments, as we're going to see in just a moment, that were more feminine garments. Put on these garments, and when I'll teach you how to do the avoda. So what happens? He'emidu eitzel hamizbeach. So Shimi tells Chanyo, you know what? Stand here by the mizbeach. I'll be back in a second. Amr lahem la'echav ha'kohanim. Shimi runs over to the fellow Kohanim, and what does he say? Ru'u, ma neder zeh v'kiyum lahavaso. We'll say this is a wild story. Shimi goes over to the Kohanim and says, look what Chanyo is doing. Chanyo made a promise to his wife. What was the promise to his wife? He said to her, Osa hayom she'eshtamish pekahuna gedola, elbosh ba'unkali shalechi, ve'echkar betziltzul shalechi. Chanyo promised his wife, I love you so much that on the day that I am appointed Kohen Gadol, I'm going to wear your blouse and I'm going to wear your belt as a sign of my incredible undying love for you. Shabbosai, Shimi obviously set up his younger brother Chanyo, and again at this point in time, Shimi's making it look like that Chanyo is disparaging the avoda. So what happens? Bikshu echav hakohanim lahargo. So we'll say, so the other kohanim, if you could imagine, come running to Chanyo to kill him. Ratz mipnehem. So Chanyo does the only logical thing. What does he do? He runs from them. Viratzu acharav, and they ran after him. Halach la'Alexandria shel Mitzrayim, and so ultimately again Chanyo runs to Alexandria. Ubana sham mizbeach, and it's there that he built himself an altar. V'he'ela alav l'shum avodos kochavim. And I will say, amazingly enough, what ends up happening? What ends up happening is that Chanyo, who again we have absolutely no reason to believe was not a good person, after all he was appointed by his father, Shimon HaTzadik, to be the Kohen Gadol, is so disenfranchised and is so upset. And I will say, understandably so. You know, again, if you notice what's missing from this story? What's missing from this story? Hey, Chanyo, what's going on? Right? What? By the way, before we kill you, maybe just a word, right? Maybe just a little bit of a conversation. Maybe just let's clear this up, because this is what Shimi is telling us to say. None of that happened. They pursued him, ready to kill him. He runs away to Mitzrayim, to Alexandria, ultimately builds a temple for Avodah Zarah. And I will say, this is amazing. When the Chachamim heard about this story, in other words, ultimately, I guess the story unfolds. Obviously, it's recorded in the Gemara. Amru, I will say, we learn an incredible lesson. So Rabbi Meir says like this, you learn an incredible lesson here about how much people crave power. If you see how Shimi, who wasn't given the position of power, yet what lengths he went to in order to go ahead and get that power from himself, all the more so people who are given power, to what lengths they will go to preserve it. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, lo kach hayamaisa. So also Rabbi Yehuda says that's actually not the story. There's a different story. Ella lo kibel alav Chanyo. And both say, listen to this. The story actually is that Shimon HaTzadik on his deathbed says, my son Chanyo is going to be the Kohen Gadol. He appoints Chanyo as the Kohen Gadol. Chanyo says, Dad, no. Thank you very much. I have an older brother, Shimi. Give it to Shimi. And what happens? Because ultimately, again, Chanyo decided, you know what, Shimi is 2.5 years older than me. Give it to Shimi. And I will say, even though, again, Chanyo was offered it, and Chanyo willingly passed on it, he was still jealous of his older brother Shimi, that Shimi became the Kohen Gadol. So I will say, so what does he do? Chanyo now has Kohen Gadol remorse. He's upset that he passed on the opportunity. See, he wants it back. How is he going to get it back? So I will say, same story, just in this version, the characters are switched. So what happens? Amrlo, Ba'avel Amdecha Seder Avoda. So I will say, so this in this version, Chanyo says to Shimi, listen, Shimi, father was training me all of these years. I know how to do the avoda. Why don't you come and I'll show you how to do the avoda? He goes ahead and we'll say same story. So, but this case again, Chanyo tells Shimi, why don't you put on the leather blouse and the belt, and I'll train you how to go ahead and do the avoda. And ultimately again, he puts him by the Mizbeach. Amr lehem lech ava kohanim. Ru'u ma nadar zeh v'kiyem lahavasal. So we'll say, Osa hayom shi yishtamish pekuna gidola elbow shepun kali shalechi ve'echkar betziltzul shalechi. So we'll say, so again, same story, just characters are reversed. In this version, again, Chanyo goes over to the Kohanim, trying to disparage Shimi. Look what Shimi is doing. He's wearing his wife's clothing on the day that he's inaugurated as the Kohen Gadol. He must have made some type of lover's vow to her on the day that I assumed the avoda. I'll wear your clothing as a sign of my undying love for you. And he's disparaging the avoda. Bikshu echav hakohanim lahargo. We'll say the one common denominator in both of these stories is apparently Kohanim are always ready to kill the guy, right? That's the part of the story that doesn't change. But here there is a dramatic detail that changes. Sach lahem kala ma'ora. Both say in this version of the story, when they're ready to come kill Shimi, Shimi says, "Hey, wait, let me tell you what happened. This is a setup." And what happens? Ultimately, again, the Kohanim decide that they're going to kill Chanyo, because again, now everything that Chanyo did comes out. Ratz mipneihem, both say first of the widest line, Chanyo runs away. Ratz achar, they run after him. Ratz lebeis hamelech, he runs to the house of the king. Ratzu acharov. Kol haroa osa omer zehu zeh. So what happened? Kol haroa osa omer zehu zeh. Who halach Alexandria Sham Mitzrayim. So we'll say they were running after him. People were outing him. He finally runs away to Alexandria. Ubana Sham. He built there an altar for himself, not just an altar, by the way, but a temple. Ve'ha'ala alav l'shem shamayim. And ultimately, again, he goes ahead, but there was not a temple of Avodah Zarah. Instead, it was a temple, ultimately, again, for the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the pasuk says, Shene Emar v'haya bayom ahu yem mizbeach laHashem b'soch eretz Mitzrayim umatzeva itzel gvula laHashem. So we'll say, so apparently again the pasuk itself foreshadows the idea that Mitzrayim would have a house that was dedicated to the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This was the metaphoric foreshadow, ultimately again to the temple built by Chanyo. So I will say, so this is the fundamental machlokes of whether or not the house, the temple that Chanyo built, was it a house for Avodah Zarah? Was it a house for HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Again, understanding clearly, even if it's a house for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're still not allowed to offer up karbanos there. But at least it's not Avodah Zarah. Fundamental machlokes. So Kishashamu Chachamim Bedavar, also when the rabbis heard this story, Amru, they said as follows, Umazeh shebarach mimenu. If this is what a person who ran away from kavod will do to secure kavod, because remember in this version of the story, what happened? Shimon HaTzadik offers Chanyo the kahuna gedola. Chanyo says, no, thank you. Give it to Shimi. He gives it to Shimi, has remorse about that, and you see the extent he's going to have his brother killed in order to get back the kavod. So if this is the extent that someone goes for kavod even after they passed on it, can you imagine what people who want kavod, what lengths they will go to? Tanya, Rabbi Shmuel Silber, Betchila, we'll say is actually a very profound idea. So we'll say this story, and by the way, there's actually so much more to say on this, because just the notion of the notion of brothers turning against brothers, which unfortunately, again, is a dynamic that's introduced. I mean, it's not introduced in the sixth parashah. We've seen a number of parashos in Bereshis, is so profound and very often becomes the very undoing of Klal Yisrael. But okay, we'll go weiter. Tanya, I'm Yehoshua ben Prachya. Betchila, let's listen to this statement. Yehoshua ben Prachya said as follows: Betchila, kala omer alela ani kofso. Yehoshua ben Prachya said, whoever would have once said to me, I think you should become the Nasi, kofso, I would have tied them up, v'nosna lifnei ha'ari, and I would feed them to a lion. So Rabbi Shmuel Silber, obviously a bit hyperbolic, but is saying, if anyone would have ever told me to assume a position of leadership, I would have fed them to the lions. Who wants that position of leadership? Who needs the headaches? Who needs the difficulties? Who needs the tsaras? Everyone's always angry at you. So what do you need it for? So I would literally feed them to the lions. Ata, so Rabbi Shmuel Silber, b'nadar the nasi, akala omer li leireid mimena, ani matal alav kumkum shal chamin. But now that I am the Nasi, if somebody would tell me to leave my position, I would pour a pot of boiling water on their head. So we'll say, so an incredible idea. Take, in the beginning, so a person doesn't want the kavod. I don't want the kavod. Then once you get the kavod, you do not want to give up the kavod for anything. Shari shol barach mimeno. So we'll say the paradigmatic example of this. There are many examples of this, but one of them is Shaul. Shaul, when he is appointed king, ultimately again ran away from this appointment. Ukisha'ala bikesh larog es David. Yet I will say once he becomes king, and Shmuel tells him he's no longer king, and David has been appointed king, Shaul runs after David to kill him. Amrli Mar Kashish Reid Rav Chisda Abaye. Rabbi Meir Haikrad Rabbi Huda my Avile. So we'll say Rabbi Meir, what does he do with the pasuk of Rabbi Huda? Because remember again, Rabbi Huda quotes the pasuk from Yeshayahu that foreshadows the idea that a house of HaKadosh will be built in Mitzrayim, which Rabbi Huda holds refers to the temple built by Chanyo. Rabbi Meir holds that the temple built by Chanyo was for Avodah Zarah. So the Gemara asks, what does Rabbi Meir do with the pasuk quoted by Rabbi Huda? So the Gemara says the Chidisanya. I'm sorry. Listen to this. After Sancheriv was destroyed, Yatzach Chizkiah umatzu b'nei malachim shayoshem mikrano shal zav. So also listen to this. So remember again, Sancheriv marches on Yerushalayim. Ultimately, again, his army is wiped out overnight. An incredible, miraculous display of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's power. So what happens? Chizkiah comes out. The city of Yerushalayim was under siege. Sancheriv and his army wiped out. Chizkiah comes out of Yerushalayim after the siege is laid to waste. And what does he find? He finds princes who were sitting in their golden carriages, who had accompanied Sancheriv on his campaign to conquer Yerushalayim, and now they're sitting outside of Yerushalayim, all dressed up, nowhere to go. So what does he say? Hidiran shalolav avodas kochavim. He made them swear that they would renounce idolatry. Shene Emar, Bayomahu Yechamish Aram Baris and Sayim Midbaros, Midabros, Svaskinan, top of Kuf Yud, Venishbaos La Hashem Tzivakos. Ultimately, again, so Rabbi Meir Bosai understands that the pasuk actually foreshadows the idea that Chizkiah told some of the princes of Egypt, he made them swear that, or made them take a neder, that they were no longer going to go ahead and worship idolatry. So what happens? These princes then went on to Alexandria in Egypt. Ubanu Mizbech, they built an altar. V'he'elu alav l'shem shamayim. And they started serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sheneh Amar, Bayomo yeh mizbech la'Hashem b'soch eretz Mitzrayim. So fine. So we'll say, so therefore again, that's how Rabbi Meir ultimately understands the pasuk. It's not a reference ultimately to the house built by Chanyo, but rather it's a reference to the temple built by these princes whom Chizkiah adjured not to go ahead and worship idolatry anymore. Good. The Gemara asks a question on the pasuk now. Pasuk from Yeshayahu. Bayoma, here the pasuk is quoting the end of this. Ir haheres ye omer la'achos. So we'll say, what's ir haheres? My ir haheres yomar la'achos. Kidimetargim Rav Yosef karta de beis shemesh. But also this ultimately again refers to a city in the valley of the sun, the asid lemichrav. So I should say the asid lemichrav. It Amar di hi chada min hon. So I will say, if you look at Rashi for just a moment, Rashi says, actually not yet, I'm sorry. This refers ultimately again to one of the cities. We're going to define what this means in just a moment. This refers ultimately again to one of the cities, literally Karta de Beis Shemesh, which is a city in the valley of the sun. The Asid lemichrav Tamar dahi chada min hon, which was one of the cities that ultimately again was mentioned in the pasuk before. One of the cities represented by one of the princes who was outside of Yerushalayim, who subsequently gave up idolatry and participated in the building of the Beis Hashem in Alexandria. Umimai the ira heres lishon de shimshu. So the Gemara just asked an etymological question. From where do you know that heres means sun? So the Gemara says dichsev haomer lacheres velo yizrach. He speaks to the sun or the cheres and it does not shine. Hevi b'nei merchak ubeno sai miktzeh aretz. So we'll say, so the Gemara now quotes the pasuk from Yeshaya. Listen to this. It says, Havi'i banai merachok, bring my sons from far away, ubenosai miktzeh haaretz, and my daughters from the edge of the land. So we'll say, so what does this mean? So the Gemara is going to ask, Amar Rav Huna, Elu golios shal Bavel. So we'll say, obviously the pasuk is talking about the ingathering of the exiles. So the pasuk seems to discuss two different forms of ingathering. The sons are brought merachok, from far away, ubenosai miktzeh aretz, and the daughters are brought from the edge of the land. So we'll say, what does this mean? Haviu banai merachok, Amar Rav Huna, Elu golios shal Bavel. This refers to the Jews in the diaspora of Bavel. Shadaiton miyusheves aleihen kibanim. But it's a very profound statement. This refers to the Jews in Bavel because their minds are settled like suns. Ubenosai miktzeh aretz, and my daughters from the edge of the land. Elu golios shal shar aratzos. This refers to the Jews in other diasporas. She'ein daitan miyusheves aleihen kibanos, whose minds are not settled like daughters. I'll say, what does this mean? This is actually amazing. Take a look at Rashi. This is the top Rashi. It's right after the two, literally the top line in Rashi. Das zecharim miyusheves aleihen yoser mishal nekebos. So we'll say, so the Gemara says that men enjoy a different inner tranquility than women. So I'm not sure exactly what Rashi is conveying here, but on a basic level, Rashi is saying is that apparently men are sometimes calmer than women. So ultimately, again, no need to comment on this, right? So ultimately, again, what the Gemara is saying is like, this is actually quite amazing. There are two different types of gullus. There's a type of gullus where we're like men, i.e., that although we are in Galus, our minds are settled because Baruch Hashem, things are good. And then there are other types of Galios, other types of diasporas where we are like women, i.e. on edge. There's something happening. There's something going on. Our minds are not settled. So Rashi points out over here something amazing. B'nei Bavel, ein lahem ol malchus, kishar Galios shebechal ratzah. So we'll say, so the Gemara says over here, ultimately, again, giving examples of this, the Gemara says it. Amar Rav Huna, Elu Galio shel Bavel, Shadaiton miyusheves alein kibanim. So the Gemara says an example of this is like Bavel. I'll say, although Bavel was Galus, at the end of the day, again, it was a Galus that was incredibly supportive of our spiritual growth, of our ruchni growth, of our material growth, and therefore, because of that, it's kischarim. It's like suns. It's like suns. It's Galus, but Baruch Hashem, it's good. Our minds are settled, as opposed to many other diasporas where it's banos miktzeh aretz. We're on edge. There's drama. There's difficulty. Ubenosai miktzeh aretz. So the Gemara says, Elo golios shashar ratzos. This refers ultimately again to the golios of other lands. She'in daiton miyusheves alein kibanos. Ultimately, again, our minds are not settled. Just like girls are always on edge, there's always some level of drama. So ultimately, again, there were golios where there was always some level of drama as well. Amar Rabbi Barav Yitzchak Amar Rav Chisda Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Mitzor va'ad Kartigni Makir Nes Yisrael v'Savei Shoshan. So this is just an interesting statement. Rav is the name of Rav from Tzur. Both say Tzur is Tyre, right? Tyre is Tyre, Lebanon. From Tzur until Kartigni, wherever that was. So they recognize Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we'll say this is, now remember again, this was an area of Galus as well. But in this particular Galus, ultimately again, they recognize Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Umitzur klape Ma'arav, but ultimately again from Tzur and westward, Umikartigni klape Mizrach, and from Kartigni and eastward, Ein Makirin Es Yisrael v'lo Hashem. They did not recognize Klal Yisrael. In other words, Klal Yisrael didn't have an impact. Most of what the Gemara is saying over here is same idea. There were some Golios, there were some diaspora existences where we were part of society, recognized by society, respected by society, and when the Jew was respected, his God was respected as well. And other diasporas in which again we were not. We were not. Eisir Sim Barchiel Rav Mimizrach Shemesh Ad Nevo Shemi Gadol Shemi Bagoyim. Muktar Mugash Lishmi Umincha Tahora. So both say this is actually quite fascinating. So the Gemara quotes over here the pasuk from Malachi, and the pasuk seems to indicate that what? From the east of the sun until it sets, my name is great amongst the nations, and anyway, and b'chol makom, and in every place, Muktar Mugash Lishmi, they're offering up karbanos to my name, Umincha Tahora. Which both say sounds like what? That they're serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu and recognizing HaKadosh Baruch Hu where? Everywhere. Everywhere. Amrle Simiat. So let's listen to this. So Rav Simi is asking this question to Rav. So Rav says, it's you who they call Simi? It's you. Now both say, now what does this mean? So if you look at Rashi, this is actually dramatically amazing. Simiat Bitmiya. Atu Simi Chacham Gadol Makshali Davar Zeh. So both say, according to the first version in Rashi, Rav was giving Rav Simi a shtach. Essentially, what kind of question is that? Right? What kind of question is that? You're the great Rav Simi, and the great Rav Simi asks a klutz kasha like that. So that's the first possibility. But look at the second part of Rashi. This is amazing. V'yish omrim Rav lo haya zokef einav ela kavshan kol sham mishum tznius. Both say this is amazing. Others explain that Rav was so careful with shmiras einayim, that Rav was so careful with what he looked at, al tznius, that very rarely did he look around, but rather he kept his eyes shifted downward, to the point that sometimes he didn't even recognize certain people. So Simi'at would literally be an interrogative. You sound like Rav Simi. Are you Rav Simi? What isn't it amazing? Obviously, it's talking about a different level, but for someone to be so careful with Shmiras Einayim that literally, again, he's more often than not looking downwards, that he doesn't even recognize certain people. Again, that's not the level that's expected of us, but it tells us an incredible sensitivity we have to what we look at. So the Gemara says as follows. Simiat the Karila Eloka de Eloka. You're right, the nations of the world recognize God, but what do they call God? They call God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the God of gods, which Rabbi say ultimately means what? They recognize God, but they don't recognize God as a singular God. Instead, they recognize God as what? A God amongst gods. The pasuk says, in every place they're going to offer up karbanos to me. Could it really be that the Navi is saying they're going to offer up karbanos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere? Rabbi Yonasan, Rabbi said this is amazing. Elu Talmidei Chachamim ha'oskim b'Torah b'chol makom. Rabbi says it actually refers. What does it mean when it says that they're going to offer up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere karbanos? So the Gemara says this refers to Talmidei Chachamim who ha'oskim b'Torah b'chol makom, who learn Torah everywhere. Ma'ala ani aleim ki'ilu maktirin u'magishan l'shmi. I will say when a Jew learns Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it's ki'ilu, they're offering up karbanos. And the incredible part is you can only offer up a karban inside the confines of the Beis HaMikdash, but yet you can learn Torah anywhere and everywhere. And when you go in and you learn Torah wherever you are, it's as if you're offering up karbanos. Or mincha tahora, and we'll say, what does it mean when it says it'll be a mincha tahora? Zahalome Torah betaira. We'll say it's actually very interesting. Mincha tahora means Chadash Baruch Hu says they want them to offer a mincha tahora. What's a mincha tahora? Halome Torah betaira. One who learns Torah in a state of purity. No seisha va'achar lome Torah. This refers to someone who gets married first and learns Torah afterwards. I will say it doesn't mean you wait to learn Torah until after you get married. What it means is that you go ahead and you get married at a young age in order that you can learn Torah b'tara. I will say the logic behind that is because if a person is married, he has a permitted outlet, ultimately again for his desires, and therefore again doesn't have to be preoccupied with thoughts of those desires, instead could focus his mind ultimately again on his Torah. Now I will say, what I will point out there, if you remember back to our Kiddushin days, this is the source of a fundamental dispute. Should a person learn Torah first and then get married? And by the way, it's not just learn Torah. The Gemara says, quotes opinions that says a person should learn a Torah, should build a house, should have some money in the bank, right? Should go ahead and, because the goal is when you get married, I know it sounds crazy, you should be self-sufficient, right? Ridiculous when people come up with these things, right? Right? But the idea ultimately is, so, or is it better to get married young, recognizing that, again, there'll still be a dependency, but because, again, a person has that physical relationship, ultimately, again, will be able to focus his mind on other things. So I'm just pointing out, it's a machlokes in the Gemara. Here the Gemara is quoting one side of this, halome Torah betara, no seisha v'achar kach lome Torah. So mincha Torah means that a person should get married young, so that his mind is settled and he can learn Torah betara. Shira malos, hine baruch es Hashem kol avdi Hashem, ha'ovdim beveis Hashem baleilos. We'll listen to this. Quotes another pasuk. A song of ascents. We have blessed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all those who serve God, who stand in the house of God, baleilos. My baleilos. What does it mean at night? Some Rabbi, this is amazing. Rabbi Yochanan, Elu Talmidei Chacham ha'oskim Torah balayla. It refers to people, to Talmidei Chacham who learn Torah at night. Ma'ale alein ha'kasav kilu asukim ba'avoda. Ultimately, again, if you take of your nighttime hours, which are normally reserved for relaxation and sleep, and you go out and you take them ultimately again to learn, so it's as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, as if you offered up karbanos. Li'olam zos al Yisrael. Amrav Gidol, Amarav Zemiz Beach Banui, Umichal Sar Hagadol Omed Umakrev Alav Karban. We'll say this is actually incredible. The Olam Zos Al Yisrael, and forever this will be for Klal Yisrael. So Rav Gidol understands this means even in the absence of the Beis Hamikdash Shal Mata, the earthly Beis Hamikdash, the Beis Hamikdash Shal Mala, the celestial Beis Hamikdash is still intact. And what's happening? Even if we can't offer karbanos here, Michal, the right hand Malach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is offering up karbanos in the celestial sphere. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Elu Talmidei Chachamim. Listen to this saying, Ha'oskim behilchos avoda. So this refers to Talmidei Chacham who are learning the halachos of karbanos. Ma'ala aleim akasuv kilu nivna mikdash biyamehem. Rabbi say, we've sometimes thought to ourselves, what have we been doing for the last 110 days? Learning about details of every single carbon. Every single detail. We'll say, no, we've been doing this pasuk. That when you learn the halachos of avoda, when you learn the halachos of the Beis Hamikdash, ma'ale alein akasav kilo nivna mikdash b'yem. We'll say, for the last 110 days, it is as if the Beis Hamikdash, we have had the Beis Hamikdash with us. When you learn the halachos of the avoda, even if you don't understand every single detail, but you're toiling to do it, it's as if not only you're building the Beis Hamikdash, it's as if the Beis Hamikdash is built. It's as if you're living inside of the Beis Hamikdash. Amrei Shlakish, Ma'id Chsiv Zeos HaTorah. We said over this drasha so many times, but again, it's amazing. By the way, you see what the Gemara is doing? It's funny. It would have been actually wonderful to have a lot of these Gemaras at the beginning of the Masechta. It would have girded us with the right kind of chizuk. But I will say again, you know what? Sometimes you have to do it even without the chizuk in life. You just have to do it, and the Meretz the chizuk comes afterwards. Zos HaTorah li'ola lemincha lechatas u'la'asham. This is the Torah for the ola, the mincha, the chatas, the asham. Listen to this, I will say, amazing. Kala osek b'Torah kilu hikriv ola mincha chatas v'asham. Whoever learns Torah, it's as if you have offered up the ola, the mincha, the chatas, and the asham. Rabbi says, 1 second. If that's the case, the pasuk should have said not la ola lemincha, but ola umincha. And Rabbi says, no, it's a little bit more of a nuanced lesson. Kala osek b'Torah eno tzarich lo ola v'lo chatas v'lo mincha v'lo asham. We'll say Rava says that if you learn Torah, specifically again the sections of the karbanos, you don't need the ola, the chatas, the mincha. What does it mean you don't need? Obviously, if the Beis Hamikdash is standing, you need it. But what it's saying ultimately is what? That it's ki'ilu, you have it. That if you go ahead and you learn these sugyas, it's as if you're offering up these karbanos. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, my dichsiv zos Torah sachatos, v'zos Torah sa'asham, kala osek b'Torah chatos, kilu hikriv chatos. I will say this is the most magnificent lesson. When you learn about the chatos, it's as if you've offered up the chatos. V'chala osik b'Torahs asham. And if you go ahead and you learn the Torah of asham, kilu hikriv asham. I will say that's what we've been doing. We've been spending day in, day out learning about the karbanos. I will say you'll say to yourself, no, what do I have to show for it? What do you have to show for it? Every single day you learned about the mincha. you offered up a mincha. And even though, again, the Karban Omer can only be offered up on the second day of Yom Tiv, we got to offer up a Karban Omer for every single day of a number of different weeks. And we got to offer up chatos, and hashamos, and nidavos, and every Karban we learned about the Rebbe it was ki'ilu. We were standing in the Beis HaMikdash, and we had the opportunity to offer up that Karban. Rebbe say, ein zechus gedola mizo, to be able to not just learn a Kadosh Baruch Hu's Torah, but to stand in the confines of the Beis HaMikdash and offer up these karbanos. That's what we've been doing for the last 110 dadays. Mishnah. Ne'emar ba'olas behema. Say this is it's just incredible. Ne'emar ba'olas behema ish reich nichoach. So we'll say it says by the olas behema. So remember again, olas behema. The Gemara chooses this as an example because an ola is an animal that is totally consumed on the mizbeach. So I get nothing from it. I give it all to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Behema represents the largest type of animal. So if you think about it, Karbanic perspective, olas behema is the most dramatic type of karban. It's ola and it's a behema. So it says by olas behema reach nichoach. Uba olas of. Now both say, if you think about it conversely, the smallest karban is what? Is an olas ha'of. That's the smallest karban. So ishe reach nichoach. Uba mincha ishe reach nichoach. I will say now mincha is not even an animal offering, right? It's just a flower offering. It says a fire offering, a pleasing. I'm sorry, reach nichoach is a pleasing aroma to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we'll say, so what's the pshat? What the Mishnah is picking up on over here is he uses the same lashon of reach nichoach, a pleasing aroma, from the biggest karban to the smallest karban. What's the pshat? Well, isn't how beautiful this is? It's not just requirements for life. Lo melecha echad hamarbe ve'echad hamamit ubilvad sheyechavein libo l'shem. Both teaching us an incredible lesson. Whether you give a lot or whether you give a little, the ikar is that you give your heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Rosh doesn't need my behema, and he doesn't need my open, he doesn't need my mincha. What he needs is the one thing he doesn't possess, which is my heart. If I give him whatever it is that I'm giving him with a complete heart, it's a ishe reach nichoach la'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what, it's my heart that creates the pleasing aroma. Rabbi Zera, Mikra. So we'll say what Rabbi Zera says. What's the pasuk that backs up this assertion? Mesuka shnasa oved ma'atvim harbe yochal. So we'll say, so the pasuk quotes over here the pasuk from Koheles that Mesuka Shnasa Oved im Ma'at ve'im Harbe Yochel v'Asavala Asher Nemanech. So we'll say, actually the Gemara quotes over here Shnasa Oved Avoda Sakarbanos. So the Gemara is dashing it over here. It refers to a person who offers up karbanos umavil mizbeach, and ultimately he brings it to the mizbeach. His ultimately again his sleep is sweet. His sleep is sweet. I.e., he can rest assured, im ma'at ve'im harbe yochal. Whether he gives a lot or whether he gives a little, he will reap the benefits of his avoda. In other words, as long as he's giving it with a genuine heart, ultimately, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be happy with his offering. So we'll say, Rav Adavar just brings up a different pasuk. Tanya, Amri Rishon ben Azai. Bo re'ei maksib harshas karbanos shelo ne'emar bahen lo el v'lo elokim ela Hashem. So we'll say, interestingly enough, if you look in the parashas of karbanos, so the Torah doesn't use the lashon of kel, the Torah doesn't use the lashon of elokim, rather the Torah just uses lashon of yud kei vav kei. Shelo litein pischon peh lebaldin lachlok. In order not to go ahead and what? To give any fuel for those to go ahead and say that there are many gods. In other words, there's only one name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu used in the parashiyos of karbanos, in order to show that we are only offering our karbanos to one God and not to multiple gods. V'ne'emar b'shor hagas ishe reach nichoach, u'ba'of hadak ishe reach nichoach, u'b'mincha ishe reach nichoach. And as we said before, it says whether you're offering up a big shar, or you're offering up a small bird, or you're offering up a mincha, it uses the same lashon of a pleasing aroma. Echad hamarba ve'echad hamamit ubilvad sheyechavein libo l'shem. Both say to teach us an incredible lesson. Whether you're giving a lot or whether you are giving a little, ultimately, again, the goal is dedicate your heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And both say, now again, I want to be clear on this. So we'll say echad hamarba ve'echad hamamit does not mean it's okay just to do a little as long as you're genuine. I want to be clear with this, right? Right? Echad hamarba means, right? I want to be clear. You know what's even better? Is to be marbe and to give your heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Do a lot and do it genuine. That's the goal. Do a lot and do it genuine. What it's saying about says that sometimes in life we are precluded from doing a lot from a variety of different reasons. It could be financial reasons. Ultimately, again, the person can't bring the shar. He can only bring the oath. He can only bring the mincha. Sometimes he's down on himself. I'm only bringing an inferior carbon. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no, chas v'shalom. Do not be down on yourself. Why? Because as long as what you're doing is genuine, then what? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I love it. It's a reach nichoach. Echad amar ve'echad amamit. In life, Rabbi say, you have to do whatever you can do, but you have to be honest with what you can do. Because sometimes we say I can only do X, and it's not true. What I'm really saying is I only really feel like doing X. I really could do X plus Y, like we saw in the PHS, like we saw in the Ish Kodesh. Sometimes in the middle of oh no, this is what I could do. False. Sheker. You could do a lot more. You could do a lot more. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes there are life circumstances to prevent me. I have to be truthful with myself about what my abilities are. Don't let yourself get away with laziness. Don't let yourself get away with saying, I'm mamit. This is okay. This is what I do. It's not a lot, but I do it with kavana. That's a great start. Even better than doing a little bit with kavana is doing a lot with kavana. But if for some reason circumstances in life prevent you from doing a lot, just know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy with whatever you're doing as long as you give him your heart. The Gemara goes weiter. Maybe you'll say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs the karbanos for consumption purposes. Tamid lomar im erav lo omer lecha kili tevel umulo v'ne'amar kili kol chayso yar behemos b'harei elef yadati kol of harim v'ziz sadai imadi ha'ocha bas arabirim v'dam atudim eshte. So what says HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, lest you think that I need your karbanos because I'm hungry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I own all the animals of the field. Right? The fields are mine. The meat of even the strongest of animals are mine. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't need your karbanos for consumption purposes. Lo amarti aleichem zivchu kedei shetomru eser ritzono v'ya'aser ritzoni. Furthermore, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, don't offer up karbanos to me in order that you'll say, Kedei shetomar eser ritzono. See, I will say sometimes a person says, this is very profound because sometimes this happens in our Yiddishkeit. I'm going to serve God. Why? Why? So eser ritzono, I'll do God's will, v'ya'aser ritzoni. In order that what? That God does not, like a spiritual quid pro quo. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu to say, God, I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine. That's not how it works, Rabbi say. Rather, again, lo lirtzoni atam zovchem, ela lirtzonchem ata zovchem. Ultimately, again, do not go ahead. Lo lirtzoni atam zovchem, ela lirtzonchem atam zovchem. Do not go ahead and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ultimately, again, lirtzoni. For my purposes, rather, again, go ahead and Lirtzonchem, serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu for your purposes. Shene'emar lirtzonchem tizbechuhu. Ultimately, again, because as the pasuk says, lirtzonchem tizbechu, for your will. Lirtzonchem, for your will shall you offer up the carbon. Davar acher, lirtzonchem tizbechuhu, lirtzonchem zivchu, lida'atem zivchu. When you go ahead and you offer up your karbanos to Rabbi, ultimately, again, do it in a way that you're doing it for you. Rabbi, this is an incredibly profound idea in so many different ways, that don't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you think He's going to give you something. This is the Altiu Kavadim HaMishem Shnesarav Amanas Kabal Pras. But understand that when you engage in your Yiddishkeit, so what happens? You're doing it for you. You're doing it for you because you get a lot out of it. Of course, there's schar. Whether the schar is in this world, whether the schar is in the world to come, ultimately, again, there's always schar. But when you serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, lirtzonchem tizbechuhu, l'da'atchem zivchu, k'debay minei shmor refhuna, minayin lemisasek bekachem shu pasel. Rabbi say, from where do we know? Ultimately, again, that if one goes ahead and Misasik bekachim. We'll say misasik bekachim means as I'm doing the carbon, ultimately I go ahead and I have kavana for something else. Misasik. So we'll say misasik means like I think I'm cutting a steak, but in reality I'm shechting a carbon. How do I know that it's possible? Shne'emar v'shachat es ben abakar. Shetehei shchita l'shem ben bakar. Because we'll say as the pasuk says, you shall shecht the ben bakar, shchita shall be for the sake of the ben bakar. Amrulo zu biadenuhu. I understand that's the halacha. La'akiv mi. I will say, how do I know that it's ma'akiv? In other words, how do I know that halacha l'maisa? Ultimately what? How do I know that halacha l'maisa? If I am misasek, and I don't have the right kavana, ultimately, again, it's ma'akiv, that the carbon is possible. Talmud lomar, lirtzonchem tizbechuhu, lidatchem zivchu. What says, the pasuk says, when you offer up the carbon, it should be lirtzonchem, it should be for your will, lidatchem, it should be with das. What say, the idea being that if you just shecht karbanos, thinking that you're doing something else, the carbon is not being good. I will say the message that the pasuk is leaving, that the parak is leaving off with, are two profound messages. Number one, understands that sometimes we just can't produce the great results, and God says that's okay. I'm just happy with any results you produce as long as your results are produced with incredible kavanah, and incredible heart, and incredible lev, and incredible sincerity. Number two, I will say, in our Yiddishkeit, it's not about give to get. It's not about serving Kadosh Baruch Hu because I want something back in return. But rather, again, it's ultimately for us. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us the great opportunity to self-actualize, gives us the great opportunity to transcend ourselves, gives us the great opportunity to become greater than we ever thought we could become. And how do we do that? So we'll say, how does that occur? Ultimately, again, that occurs through the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lirtzonchem tizbechuhu. When you offer, says, do it with your ratzon. Do it because you want to. Do it because you understand that it's good for you. Is there schar? Is there reward? Of course there is. There's a reward for everything. I'll say where that reward is. Olam haza, olam haba. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu will tell us how all of that works. But lamaisa, again, when we do it ultimately for our own ratzon, because everything we do in our Yiddishkeit, big and small, ultimately, again, I will say, is for our own benefit. So we'll stop over here. We'll make the final scene at some future time. But I just want to take the opportunity to reflect on this incredible accomplishment. Because Maseches Menachos, as you may have noticed, has not always been a smooth and easy ride. And it was tempting, I'm sure at times, to check out. But an incredible yashar koach, I will say, to all of you who stuck with it. And there are many more who stuck with it also who aren't here. I don't mean like aren't here like, who have passed on. I mean like who aren't here with us. I mean like physically, who either listen online or because of different scheduling things, who are part of our larger sheer entity. And I will say it's an incredible accomplishment because this for many of us is a mesechta that, to be honest, we would have never picked up on our own. And we would have never made a chavrusa in Meseches Menachos. And I will say we would have missed out on the treasure of the Ribono Shel Olam. Because here for the last 110 days, 109 days, see that again, we've had the opportunity to offer karbanos, we've had the opportunity to stand in the Beis HaMikdash, we've had the opportunity to literally dwell in closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because every word about a karban, it was ki'ilu we were offering it up. And I will say, Ein Zuchus Gedola Mizo. Tomorrow morning, we start Meseches Chulin. I will say, an incredibly beautiful and magnificent mesechta. I would ask, let's opt in. I will say, the power of Torah is not when you dabble in it. And the power of Torah is not when you catch a few minutes here or a few minutes there. The power of Torah is when you commit yourself to something in its entirety and nothing breaks your kiviyas. Not Shabbos, not Sunday, not Beis Yaakov vacation, whatever it is, you remain committed, you remain engaged. A person, of course, can't always be here. I'm not talking about that. I mean, just an idea about if Kviyas Chulin is going to be an incredible, magnificent, overwhelming journey. I don't even have the words to describe how great it is. I will say it begins tomorrow morning. A brand new adventure, a brand new opportunity to learn more about HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. In Chulin, we're going to learn some of the halachos of Shchita, the halachos of Yaradea, Basra B'chalov, Taroves. There's going to be some beautiful Agadata. And yes, do not worry, there's still going to be some karbanos as well. I don't want you to think that we're done with karbanos. Especially after this, who doesn't want to learn more karbanos? We'll say that begins tomorrow morning, B'sha'a Tova U'Mitzlachos. Let's go ahead and ultimately, again, engage. Let's go ahead and Emirat Hashem commit ourselves to not just doing it, but showing up on time, being here, focusing, being engaged, even if we have some time, maybe doing a little bit of Chazara. We're going to try to start a program for Chazara also with Meseches Chulin. We'll unveil those details in Emirat Hashem over the next day or so. And I will say, but that's our goal. We have the great schos every single day to be able to learn the Chodesh Baruch Hu's Torah. And let's remember, Lirtzonchem Tizbechu. Right? Ultimately, again, we're not doing this we're doing it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but ultimately the real beneficiary of our avoda is not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The real beneficiary of our avoda, I will say, is us. Every single line we learn, every single word we learn makes us into better people, holier people, better Ovdei Hashem. Mazel Tov. May we zoche Meretz Hashem to Messiah many more Masechtos together.